Top story tonight, we are hearing from Knoxville Police Chief Eve Thomas for the first time since announcing use of force policy changes last week.
Yeah, those changes that include more reporting for show of force, specific wording of an officer's duty to intervene, and the removal of the lateral vascular neck restraint. I sat down with Chief Thomas today to talk about those changes and how calls for law enforcement change impact her department.
We certainly don't need to stop our training now.
On training, defunding the police.
Defund the police to me means take money from my budget.
And use of force policy changes.
We understand the very presence is a use of force.
Knoxville Police Chief Eve Thomas talking about all of it. Removing the bilateral neck restraint from the use of force policy, where we start.
I pretty much made that decision that it just doesn't look good at this point in time. The optics of having your arm around somebody's neck are not good. But what I wanted to make very clear is that takes away a less lethal method of bringing a subject under control. So that's one step closer to lethal force that we have taken away.
Thomas says she got less pushback from officers than she anticipated, noting Knoxville officers hear the public calls for change.
We definitely have other things that we have, you know, in empty hand soft and empty hand hard, we teach different techniques. So it's not that we just have 4 or 5 tools. I mean, there's pressure points that we can use for pain compliance when we go to empty hand hard, and there are other things. That's just one tool that has been used effectively, and I don't have the exact numbers. I know it was more than 5 times last year, less than 10. I think it was about 8 or 9. That we used it very effectively, and it did stop the aggression, and we were able to get a suspect handcuffed and under control.
On defunding the police, Thomas says less money isn't the answer, and she supports adding social workers to the force.
I do understand the push for more social workers to assist us. But if you take away positions from me and give those positions to social workers, first of all, it's probably going to take 2 to 3 positions to fund 1 social worker. Officers don't make the salary that a social worker makes.
De-escalation, already a part of any officer's training, but Thomas says to ensure the safety of officers and those they're in contact with is mutual.
Comply now, complain later. Please don't fight us. That seems to be, we find now that people seem to think it's okay if we need to arrest them. We explain what we're doing. We'll explain to you why we're giving a citation. We'll explain why we're arresting you. But when the combatant starts, when the fighting starts, when the aggression starts, we have to rise up and we have to get that person in custody. If you think you're being arrested and you shouldn't be, if you think you're given a citation and you shouldn't, please just comply now, and even once you're in the back of the patrol car.
Now, Thomas also giving an update on body cameras, of course, a hot button issue that local activists have called on KPD to implement. She says hopefully they're nearing the end of the evaluation phase, looking at those 7 companies that put in proposals. Then the next step is the city purchasing department getting involved with a contract.